So mute the stream because I don't want it to play sound through it. Is it working? Please. There we go.
It's just an advertisement.
Yes, that's why I'm waiting a bit before we do anything, because you know, people are forced to watch advertisements. And I still get no money for that.
That sucks.
Oh, I just realised there's a dancing blood off my screen.
Oh, you're also jumping around in Dalaran.
Yeah.
Ah, here it is.
Alright.
Hey, it's me, it's your boy, Skinny Penis.
Alright, Skinny Penis, keep it in your pants, please.
I'm not gonna have this open because
Nah.
it's making me lag.
Fuck that.
Alright, you probably noticed we're starting on a Tuesday. That's because we're going to be doing it on a Tuesday from now on. Since I kept missing events on Thursdays. So I don't want to miss events, I want to RP. And I think it's probably better at this time rather than the Thursday.
Also, to know I am not a boy.
No, it's just not
You
a
sure?
alright, you already know me. I am your host, Skinny... No, joke. Fuse. I'll let the other two introduce themselves. Azmira, go for it.
I am Azmira, some prat who RPs a Draenei Archmage, and I'm here. I've been RPing since late Wrath, early Cata. For more details, just ask.
Alright, Tinwetar, up to you.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm Tinwetar, and I'm the GM of the Nightblade Sentinels. And I've been playing a Night Elf since Vanilla. Been role-playing a Night Elf since late Wrath, early Kata, something like that. And if you want more details, just ask. I wonder if...
Right. This is going to be a more open sort of talk, you know, highlights with 2017, once for, you know, 2018. Next week will probably be more of a planned one. I might do Stormwind roleplay for next week.
I'll make a thumbnail.
Interesting.
Saying that, what was I going to say? I think Azmira's already said it before, some of her initial, you know, approach in roleplay, but for the sake of it, go ahead, you can say yours, and Tinwetar can say hers after, you know, some of her first experiences with roleplay.
My initial approaches with RP, well, that's a bit of a difficult one because I very vaguely remember it. It's, when I started RPing, it was as a Troll Death Knight on Dark Moon Fair. And what I was doing was, it was at the tail end of Wrath, where I had nothing to do, and I wasn't in endgame because my gear score was so low, and I didn't know how to raid. So I was roaming around one day when I discovered, I think it was a few humans doing something that looked like RP. Obviously I couldn't understand them because of the faction language barrier. And so I went onto Trade Chat and started looking for RP groups and guilds. And sure enough, one actually poked me. And my RP kind of started off as a Sand Troll Death Knight. But then later on, it evolved into Blood Elf RP. I actually started RPing maining a Blood Elf. And then from there, most of my RP experiences was as a Blood Elf, working alongside a mercenary guild who later fucked her over enough to demotivate me from actually playing the character. And then I got enamored with Draenei, and soon enough, during I think it was like early MOP, like Draenei ended up becoming one of my favourite races, and I properly started RPing them around the Ashes of Draenor campaign at Reland, which I do remember. But since then, I think I made Azmira about a few months after that. I started actually fleshing around, and since then, I've been a bit of a total nerd when it comes to Draenei and Blood Elves, but mostly Draenei, and to some extent Night Elves too. And so it's come to a point where I've actually got almost a set roster of RP characters that are all in some ways linked to one another, but in a way that it's not direct. And my actual approach changed from wanting to be like I used to want to be at like top of the world kind of thing, but then it sort of mellowed out into just wanting to have fun, wanting to tell a story.
That's all what RP is, basically.
And and like in Legion has given the most opportunities for me, because back in WoD, the expansion was so bad, I actually quit the game and then RP'd in Elder Scrolls Online for a bit.
I don't think you were alone in doing that.
Then in SWOTOR, as a Sith warrior, in ESO I was a high elf mage, who was a character called Almaray, who was kind of similar to Azmira, actually, just a high elf. But yeah, like since then, it's just been since I came back. I came back around before the Legion pre-patch. It's been good. It has been good. It's just been difficult to actually pull off some of the RP storylines I want to do because of lack of people giving a shit, really. No, that's me.
That's your story.
Well, not entirely. There's been ups and downs.
We've all had ups and downs. To
Yeah,
be fair.
I think we've all had our ups and downs.
There's been betrayal, no sex, unfortunately, but lots and lots of treachery, and also IRL struggles. There's been the IRL struggle of actually my own identity, and that's kind of in my RP sometimes by pure accident.
Before we move on to Tinwetar, in one way or another, we always convey ourselves for our characters.
Yeah.
Like a certain aspect or emotion or whatever, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Granted, I can't really convey my whole self.
Obviously.
Since WoW doesn't.
No, but like aspects
it's like
come through.
minor aspects. It doesn't even have to be your entire personality.
No.
For example, I don't know, you could RP someone who's a dick, and obviously sometimes you can be a dick. I mean, everyone's a dick at least one point in their lives, you know.
I think in some ways, like there are some aspects there. Like Azmira's kind of an aspect of my wanting to learn from my failures to get better. While Ella and I is sort of an aspect of my struggle in my transition, where while I'm transitioning sex, she's transitioning into what kind of elf she is. Like, what is she? Who am I?
Yeah, what matters at the end of the day is if you're having fun and the stories you're creating, you're having fun with it in general.
Yeah, it's good. It's fun storytelling, and as long as people don't take it overly seriously, I'm actually quite cool with certain tragedies happening. Like
yes, I'm one of those who love to torment my own characters. So
granted, it did go a bit far with my Blood Elf. though. Like, there was a time where I accidentally let a troll called Wonkai bite my blood elf's tit off.
Wait, what?
Ow!
Yeah, that
Ow!
kind of put a dent in her RP.
No, really? Ow!
Yeah, that was kind
Ow!
of the time I went
can
on to
feel
Draenor.
the pain.
No.
Ow!
I can feel it too.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah,
No.
like tragedy's good in RP as long as it makes sense.
Look, can we just talk about trolls and biting, by the way? Because
Never,
I had a
never-
troll bite my goblin's ear off.
What is it with trolls and biting?
I don't know.
Why have you been
Never let
hanging
a
out with
troll-
these biter trolls?
But
This is the one advice from my experience in RP, but never, ever let a troll pyromancer near your tits.
Well, isn't that like a sort of general rule? Never feed the troll.
Not really. There are some people.
That is
who
a sort of
relish in
general
it.
rule. Do
There's
not
some-
feed the trolls.
There are some people who relish in it,
Yeah, I know.
and
But
like
you get your boobs bitten off if you do.
and
So
like
do not ever do that again.
with writing, it's like
I'm
kind
gonna
of-
leave this before I get angry.
yeah. Let's move on to the
Not that, by the way. I'm talking about the PG. Because I know I'm gonna end up swearing on the stream.
I
And...
can-
Oh,
I
so
can
the
see you
topic
get-
was making you angry.
No,
Your ass kicked.
no, not you.
No, I can see you
I
getting
get,
your ass.
I get really mad when it's competitive stuff, so I'm not gonna bother with
Ah.
that.
You're getting your ass kicked.
Yep.
Yeah,
That could be a bit.
let's move
Anyway,
on to Tim.
go on, Tinwetar. What about your experiences?
My experiences with roleplay.
Yep.
Oh, I actually lied. I actually started roleplaying in vanilla now that I remember, but it was not very good roleplay. But we all start out someplace, right? The typical sort of city elf. That's where I started. But then, and I was in this. I was playing on Defias Brotherhood at the time, and I was in this guild called Alliance Angels, if I recall. And it was me and another. It was like a dwarf and someone else. We were hanging out in Darnassus for some reason. We were doing like some casual roleplay on the side, even though we had no clue what we were doing. And we were sitting on one of those, high up bridges, and we were looking down upon people from Nature's Grasp role-playing. And I remember, one of us was we were talking loudly and we were, making fun of them in some way or another. And I remember one of them whispering me and telling me that if you want to be a role player, you need to leave that guild because they will never take you seriously. You will never be taken serious as a role player. So that was a sort of wake-up call for me. It's like, oh, okay.
It's kind of sad when someone has to tell you that, though. And,
Yeah.
and it's kind of sad that a guild in general is known to be bad roleplay because
Yeah, I don't know. It was, how old was I? I must have been 16, 17, something like that. So it's a long time ago.
I was 14 or so. I can't remember.
Yeah, I
That's
can't remember either. It's a long time ago. But anyway, I left that guild, I think, pretty much immediately after that because I did not want to have my reputation ruined. So, and I remember talking to another member from Nature's Grasp a couple days later, and they sort of took me in, and started teaching the noob the proper way of role playing. Yes, the proper way of role playing. No, but it was fun. And I remember we were doing the first sort of big campaign that I had been in. And for some reason, the people who were organizing it kind of abandoned it halfway. And for some reason, it was sort of left in the officers of my guild were like, oh, well, you're playing a sort of militaristic character. You can take care of this. I'm like, what? What? Do you expect me to handle this?
You have an explanation for that.
I was like,
It
what? So I got
it
this
might have
campaign.
been
sort
it
of-
was just
yeah, it got sort of dumped on my head a little bit, and it was fun. I saw it through,
Nice.
and I got a lot of help along the way from friends and guildies, but in
Oh.
essence, I was sort of leading it, and was sort of the defining moment, the sort of turning point of, oh, okay, this is the kind of roleplay. This is fun. This is what I can do. But it was a bit sort of scary to sort of get dumped into the deep shit immediately, because I think that was like just a month or two after I had joined. So yeah, it was a bit scary. But yeah, I've been roleplaying a Night Elf, and roleplayed a Night Elf pretty much up until like the beginning of Warlords of Draenor, because that's when my old character's story sort of got to a very, very abrupt halt. Her mate died, and she got into like, very, very bad place, and couldn't really get her out of there. So I made an orc instead to sort of do something else, and joined the Orcs with the Red Blade, still on Defias. And yeah, I had so much fun with them. I'm actually with two of them at the moment, sitting in their apartment, and one panda. But yeah, so I got a lot of real life friends from there, and then the whole guild sort of moved over to Argent Dawn. I think it was like, when was that? Was that like a year ago, or like a year after Warlords? Or
I think
what?
you're around in Warlords actually, with Orcs of Red Blade, because I remember.
Yeah, it was like halfway through.
I remember
Then we
doing
moved over.
helping you guys out with some entertainment in your thing.
Yeah. I think it was like halfway through. The whole guild sort of moved over to Argent Dawn, and then shortly after that, I also decided to go back to my Night Elves because they were calling me. So, and that's when the Nightblades came to be.
Your people needed you.
Yes, my people needed me.
I suppose I can.
I mean, like, playing that race for so long. Yeah, sorry.
I was
Go
gonna say,
on.
I suppose I can do my thing again, because I don't remember if I actually saved it in a video, my initial roleplay.
Sure.
Sure. I've got bad memory, so it might not be 100%. I actually, when I came onto the realm, what? I've just read in the note. Malson lifts her garments to flash her new top. Okay.
What? What are you doing?
I'm in the Brawlers area. Right. I actually didn't start roleplay even when I joined Argent Dawn. I was that, little asshole PvPer.
One of those.
Yeah.
One of
PvP, mate.
back on Defias.
I was like, I don't know, 14, 15 probably. So,
PvP,
I mean,
mate.
being the age I was a bit of a dickhead as well.
Mate.
No.
But, I mean, RP did eventually entice me to, give it a go, watching people from a distance doing it. Although, unfortunately enough, my first character was a human assassin, and you can already see where I'm probably going to go with this, very edgy.
No, could never have guessed.
Well,
Human assassin.
PvPers are okay, yeah, but I mean, you get those PvPers on the ramp who are very dickish towards people.
Oi.
I see where we're in the same set, just different colours. I started as a human assassin, and I was very, very edgy. It didn't last long. I did eventually join the Gear Fist as a goblin at some point.
Oh, right, those.
And goblins have been something I've been RPing through many different, characters. The first one was, I think it was Neffy, or Nessie, something like that. I did eventually get thrusted officer onto me by Nimzel. Which was what pushed me to learn how to DM and, create events for other people. It was difficult to begin with, but once you ease into it, it is kind of fun, to create these adventures and have people take part in it. Yeah,
it is.
DMing is is an art form, in my opinion. Like, it's
it is.
quite
I'm still
enjoyable.
learning. It is. It is fun, but I'm still learning.
I've been doing it
but we're
for
always
years.
learning.
I've been doing it for years, but I'm also still learning as I go. But it's quite
Yeah, I mean,
fun.
I've also been doing it for years, as I said, but
It's how I
That's
learned to
a-
create proper characters as well, because I've been through a few goblins. There's Neffy, there's Gaz Wreckbolt, there's Nessa Boltblast, Twitch Gearshock, uh, Brassy, Tinkerfuse, and Dempsey Tinkerfuse, who are both
Actually,
sisters.
I'm actually DMing in like 3 days or so.
Going for all these guilds and, mostly as a goblin, it's been an adventure in itself, because I've kind of learnt along the way how to DM different ways. Also, I just spawned in fire and just died instantly. um, I'm just not going to bother with Royal Guild. I'm going to run around. Try and remember correctly as well. I think I did join the Orcs of the Red Blade for a bit, but Laughing Skull.
I think Cos mentioned it.
As a Laughing Skull, but I don't know. I guess the Laughing Skull character didn't interest me as much after seeing other people do it, and I don't want to sound harsh when I'm saying it, but it was a bit too zany when other people did it.
Yeah, I've seen different kinds.
Yeah, mine was a mute basically.
Ah, gotcha.
So her name was Zraka the Silent or something like that, or the Mute.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
But yeah,
So no insane laughter or anything.
No. She was she wasn't insane, but she was expressive through like moving hands and all that stuff,
Ah, well, that's an interesting concept, though. My
Yeah.
orc was blind when I made her. Blind orc hunter.
I just did mine born as a mute
fun.
basically, unable to talk.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember all the
It's an
characters I've
interesting
been
concept.
through. I mean, goblins and orcs have been the main things I've been RPing until night elves basically, which is the Myrmidon got me into.
Well, they're pretty cool like that.
They are.
Welcome to the Navy SEALs of the Night Elf.
Kind of.
Yeah, although Kalera wasn't a character I was too happy with. You'll get those few odd characters that you kind of screw up on, and you get to a point where you don't really like playing them.
Well,
know
maybe you
that
will be able
feeling.
to turn her around again.
Maybe. We'll see.
I've had a few characters like that before.
Yeah, I shelved her for now, and eventually when I stop being lazy, I'm going to start writing some, progress in
Right.
the background. I mean, I can't remember all of it, but I did start role-playing, like my completely new experience to role-play in WoW, and I've only role-played in WoW since. I do eventually want to try out tabletop and all that stuff, but
It's fun.
I need
I've only
friends for
done
that. I don't have friends.
Well, we've been doing it now for New Year's. That was what we did a couple of days before New Year's. We had a sort of tabletop session here. It's great.
I've never actually RP'd tabletop, but I did do a Rogue Trader game once. I RP'd a Imperial Guard Stormtrooper from the Death Corps. It was kind of fun, but at the same time, our DMs were shit and kind of put me off text-based RP for a while. And so my distinct memory of it was that we had a tech priest who was actually so incompetent he accidentally broke our ship instead of fixing it, and some big dude with a walrus-esque mustache came out of the fucking door and broke his neck. That's how he died.
Well then.
Alright.
I also recall one other thing was that my Imperial Guards woman actually overpowered an Adeptus Astartes somehow. Fucking
Good rolls. Good rolls.
Let's talk about highlights for 2017 then, which is pretty much... I guess we can talk about highlights for the Legion expansion overall as well, because it's coming to an end soon. So, I mean, if you've got anything you want to share for highlights at all.
Dumbledore's death. It was quite... Wait.
No.
No. It was...
Spoilers!
No.
It was quite, like, I think...
Are there any campaigns, any guilds you've been in, any guilds you've interacted with, players, everything like that? Anything community-wise,
I actually recall... I didn't host this campaign, but there was a campaign that I helped close off back in pre-launch, which was Ashara. Some might actually remember
That
it.
was my campaign.
Yeah, like I do remember that campaign quite fondly. I enjoyed it, and I actually quite. Although the last event was, to be frank, a bit of a clusterfuck, but that couldn't be helped. It was still good, in my opinion. And I also recall not long ago hosting an actual Argus campaign. And in a few days, I'm actually going to be hosting a 4-part event chain, which for, well, friends who and those Azmira's actually knows and such, which will actually be a part of the Taurus raid, but in a sort of subtle way, like from the point of view of the regular soldiers rather than the raiders. Fuck those raiders, man. But I think another gem in Legion was actually another gem in Legion has to be some of the people I've met. Like, I've met quite a few really good friends throughout this expansion. People I didn't expect to actually like, and
Yeah, I think I'm have to agree with that.
And people who have, well, to say it bluntly, helped me on a level that I can never repay. It's well, there's been rough times, and they've helped me through them. And it's I think another gem was actually ultimately improving my RP this expansion like I've never done before. At the same time, learning as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, and also a lot of Legion actually canonizing what I already believed about Argus, about them being a mage society and such. The whole Argus thing was a highlight for me. I think one massive highlight I have to give is Blizzard's storytelling this expansion.
Yeah, it has certainly improved.
Especially that final cinematic, though.
Yes,
Oh.
that was pretty.
And
awesome.
What's mind blowing is that on the 16th, I'm hosting that's the final part of that little event chain I'm doing soon. Is literally gonna be witnessing that cinematic from the point of view of the Vindicar, rather than on
that's
Azeroth.
awesome. Oh, that's pretty cool.
So it's gonna be a bit difficult trying to literally describe through text the
What's
cinematic.
going on? Yeah.
Yeah, but from our point of view, so we probably won't see Illidan and Velen and such, but we probably will see Sargeras dry humping the planet.
Nice.
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 Yeah, I think ultimately the biggest highlight is there is no biggest highlights. There's been so many good things this happening.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. Like, there's like too many things that has happened during Legion for me to just pinpoint a few. I mean, I've enjoyed Legion as an expansion immensely, but I've also been very, very busy since the Nightblade sort of kicked off for real this year. So we started like kicking off for real in March with like our first campaign, and then we've done, what is it now, like 4 campaigns this year, I think, and we've met like so many new people and have sort of started to sort of get involved in the community and things like that. So met so many nice new people and done so much roleplay and gotten so many friends, and I've also got to develop Tinwetar as a character as well, which is nice. And she's gone places I did not exactly expect her to go when I created her.
I've got to agree on that. I've had similar experiences with Azmira in Legion, where she's been to places I didn't expect her to go as well. Like I remember fondly one bit of RP actually involved a certain warden actually walking with her down into the vault of the wardens,
Cool.
like to help out with the demons.
Yeah.
I also recall her seeing Argus for the first time.
That must have
in
been a pretty epic moment.
25,000 years since she's
Yeah.
seen it. It was,
That must have been awesome. To sort
yeah,
of be able to get to see that like in character and everything.
It
Yeah,
definitely
my character never got to go to Suramar. We did a campaign on the Broken Isles, and Suramar was like right there, but she didn't go because she was born out on the outskirts of Suramar, so she didn't want to see what it had become. She wanted to see it again, but she didn't want to see what it had become. So she's still sort of should she go? Should she go? Should she not go? And now
my
like
night elf parts
yeah.
in that. Suramar.
Yeah, so I don't know, like come Battle for Azeroth, that's gonna be fun. Realizing that the Horde is taking over Suramar. Fun times. Whoopsie. And she didn't get to see it. That's gonna eat her up. But basically like her going back to the Broken Isles and sort of revisiting all these places that she saw when she was a kid. And where she studied as a priestess as well.
Yeah. As had a similar thing with the Orgari Conservatory.
Exactly. Like seeing all these sort of temples where she'd done different sort of priestess trainings and services and things.
Seeing the ghosts.
Seeing the ghosts and seeing them in ruins and stuff like that. That was pretty strong. And it was fun to be able to do that in character and sort of get to react to it in character as well.
That actually reminds me of a little thing that happened when Azmira first visited the conservatory again. She was immediately greeted by, and this was a bit of a risky DM move on my part, but people seem to like it.
When you do risky things?
Where Vigilant Coron, I don't know if you remember him, the Severus
the snarky god.
Yeah,
the snarky dude.
Yeah, the Snape-esque Vigilant. Basically,
yes, I do remember.
When they were entering the conservatory for the first time in 25,000 years, Az and Coron ran into each other. Coron was by the door, and he did his routine sort of whole, what's your business here and such, but then looked at Azmira and was like, you are late for X. I actually put an exact number of lessons and lectures she's missed. I can't remember how many it was because it was quite a fucking lot. But Vigilant Coron basically dismantled Azmira's entire academic career in front of everyone.
Whoopsie!
All because she missed some lessons. And was basically said, like, report to our command at once for reinstatement and so on. Like,
no matter that he's dead, but
inside, Azmira was like, "Fuck you!"
I can imagine. Wow,
because she knew Coron before he became a vigilant, so she's like, "Fucking, I knew you when you were a kid. How dare you talk to me like this?" So on.
That's awesome, though.
It was quite fun.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Though the sad part was where she visited her old house and discovered her old plushie doll still on the bed after all these years.
Oh, that's right in the feels. That's right in the feels.
It was.
Yeah, I've done stuff like that, not this year, but when I was playing my orc, as I said, she was blind, born blind.
Is it Ronya?
No, it's not Ronya. Ronya is one of my friends. I've met her in real life. They live not very far from us, but no, my orc's name is Sinami.
I think I remember.
Yeah, she was blind when I created her, and she had this wolf companion, Frostfang, who had been with her since he was a little cub, and they had grown up together. And he was basically, her sort of blind dog. That he was basically her eyes. And I had sort of, established him. Yeah, I had basically established him as a character of his own. And Ronya actually approached me like once I had joined the tribe and everything, and been with them for a little while. And Tsunami had always dreamed about being able to see and be able to actually see what's going on around her and everything like that. And Ronya approached her and said that, well, maybe there is a way for you to gain sight. We can talk to the spirits and see if there's a way. So she got a quest to sort of gather elemental cores and blah blah blah, and we did a little sort of DM'd event around that. And after like a few months, the big day for like the ritual came, and we got there and we sacrificed all the cores and everything, and the spirit of the wild possessed Ronya and talked through her, and then he tells Tsunami that the ultimate price is yet to be paid. And at that point, it sort of dawned upon Tsunami what she would have to pay to gain sight, and she didn't want it anymore. She wanted to back out of it, obviously. But at that time it was too late, and the spirits had sort of already bound her, so she couldn't move or anything. And she watched as her mate-to-be slit the throat of her wolf, and he died so that she could gain sight.
Oh.
Because the spirits basically sort of fused their two spirits into one, so that she could see through his eyes, basically, but his spirit was living inside of her. So that was heartbreaking, and everyone cried, and everyone hated me afterwards. But yes, that was fun. No one else aside from me thought it was fun. Yes, it was heartbreaking. I was crying when I was doing that. When I was doing that event, it was very, very emotional. So, but it was very, very sad.
I had a long time friend of Mary actually sacrificed.
Maybe I should
himself.
mention some of mine as well.
Yes, are we going to share depressing stories?
I do actually have a depressing story, but it's on Naren's behalf.
Oh, it's on Naren's behalf.
Because Naren kind of made us all sad as a guild, because she basically died.
No.
No.
Yep.
What?
We basically, we resurrected her, technically, brought her back, resurrected.
Oh, wow.
But it took 3 druids or something. The emote she put, I can't remember what it was, but it was so fucking heartbreaking. It's just that, imagining that whole lost sight being Argus in the sky and all that stuff,
Mm.
It was just Naren always does this to us for some reason. Naren always does these heartbreaking things, and then also makes these adorable little things as well.
Oh.
Yes, Naren is awesome.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Naren.
I don't think I've RP'd with them.
Oh, you should. Myrmidon's great.
Yeah, you should. Hopefully you will have the pleasure of role-playing with Naren soon. And you will get a fancy nickname.
Yeah.
I've not actually RP'd the Myrmidon, really.
That's a sin.
That's a sin. You have to.
I want to.
You have to.
In fact, I invite them to events. I might DM at some point, but
I think Xenon's I won't say it completely sure, but I do think Xenon's usually up for work, working with other guilds to make events and stuff.
What about independent people? Because I don't know if I'll actually be in the Nomads come BFA.
Yeah, well, poker. I mean, I'm not going to speak on their behalf because I'm not even an officer, so.
Good.
But yeah, poker. I mean, that's pretty much how it goes. I think there's also. Okay, I'm going to speak outside Myrmidon for once. Terralas, I think there might be some progress with his whole storyline soon.
Oh, soon? Yay,
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
Because
Nice.
basically the story of Terralas, if for the people who were at the Close to Home campaign, is that it's basically his final mission, I guess, which was defending Darkshore, and then he faked his death basically.
Yeah, I held the funeral. It was
Yep.
lovely.
And then he came to the Tinwetar.
Yeah, and he told me that, oh, hello, I'm here. and that was fun.
Hey, it's me, it's your boy.
Kind of.
He,
No, he gave me a cryptic little note. He was playing a wonky game with me before. I think it was, what was it, like 2 truths and a lie?
yeah, 2 truths and a lie.
Yeah. Yeah. And everything
Oh.
you said was a lie,
Yep.
obviously. But
What a cheat.
Well, he
yeah, and
can't
then he
really
gave me
soothe
a
himself
cryptic
away.
note. Then he gave me a cryptic note.
But he
Ooh.
put his trust in Tinwetar to, you know, not say anything. Because
She
Terraless is the
hasn't.
sort of character that... Okay, I guess we're running all the way back. Terraless is the sort of character that, I mean, it's not that he doesn't trust anyone, but he's a bit, you know, reserved. Like, he keeps to himself a lot.
Mm.
So it's kind of surprising for the time that I RP'd him. Obviously, he's a character I created this year. For the time that I've RP'd him, he's kind of been more open, you know?
Yeah, Azmira's gone through a similar development. She used to be a bit of a closed-off arsehole back in the day, but she sort of mellowed out.
Terraless isn't even an
Um,
arsehole, personally. Like,
No, Terraless is pretty nice.
I think you can, like, with all the things she's gone through, like her family being torn apart by the Legion, having to flee 2 homeworlds, you can kind of imagine why. Along with losing,
When
at
you're
least,
that old, I figure you sort of rack up, like,
she's
sort
42,
of traumas.
she's 42,000 years old, and she's
Yeah,
lost,
then you've been through some...
she's
some
lost
stuff along the way.
she's lost several major academies to things, but
she's seen some shit.
I think
Yeah.
I think the one big thing that ultimately made her as a character this expansion was sparing her father, where instead of outright just killing him and leaving him, she killed his body but actually imprisoned his, like, had someone imprison his soul. And her idea is that she doesn't want her family blood being tainted anymore, so she's going to try and actually get the soul cleansed. But at the same time, she's doing this is to not let the Void Lord Varafale deconstruct her any further. She doesn't want to become an agent of the Void. She wants to stand against them, basically. And she wants to form a new mage, sort of magical studies academy, not so much just mages, like just more wants to impart her sort of philosophy on the world. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that'll probably
Yeah.
be her mission in BFA, like trying to actually not getting involved in the war, more so getting involved in, like, the planet's bleeding. Like, guys, the planet's dying.
No. Horde. You need to kill the Horde.
You
Very important.
guys saw my planet. You don't want to end up like that.
Yeah, well, our tree burned down. Very important stuff.
Fuck you, tree.
That is something that's...
Oh no, she'd never say that. She loves the tree. She just doesn't.
Well, the funny thing is, Tinwetar does not really mind the tree. It's the temple. It's the temple of Darnassus that's gonna get to her. The tree is just a symbol of hubris.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's Staghelm's sort
It's
of.
it is. Yeah, it's pretty much Staghelm's compensation.
Yeah, pretty much. So she does not care for the tree. But
Yeah.
the temple in Darnassus, since that's like the only temple we have at the moment.
Well,
that's...
you do have the Temple of Elune as well in Val'Sharah now.
Yeah, but that's also a ruin. So she's gonna be very, very upset about that.
Yeah.
As a priestess, that's gonna go straight through her heart.
I think what will upset Az the most is actually when she gets back to Azeroth, actually seeing the sword in Silithus will probably reduce her to tears, because she doesn't want to see another home being destroyed.
Destroyed, no.
She has this view on magic where she sees it almost akin to a druid, where magic is in itself a natural force, and she hates it when people abuse it. So she's going to be very disapproving of abusing Azerite. So
Hmm.
should probably make
Well,
it a
maybe she
point-
would be the person to talk Tinwetar around in
She-
regards to magic.
Maybe. She's like her intent with Azurite would probably be to collect it in the hopes of studying it and actually trying to see what you can do with magic to help it heal.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
I
And
think,
hopefully enlighten people too with her view on magic, which is
Yeah.
sort of, in fact, one of the legendaries actually has a perfect description for her view on it. She has the same sort of view on it as Norganon has, where magic must be regulated, managed, and controlled, but it must also be appreciated and valued, not hoarded, such as the paradox that you must comprehend.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah,
Hazard's
then-
view on it.
Yeah, that sounds sensible.
that's
Are we derailing the topic?
If we're talking, no. I mean, we're talking about highlights and future, right? So it's whatever, really. I think the elf that's going to be affected most out of mine about Tell Your Soul is probably going to be Teralas.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
he's like I mentioned before, he's probably going to go on a warpath. So he'll probably return onto the battlefield. So I don't know if by then he's going to be locked up or he's going to have his freedom, whatever. But either way, he's going to want to, kill the horde, basically.
Aw, don't lock up Teralas. That would be sad.
Depends on the rogues I've got in contact with, SI7 stuff.
Oh, you have people who will
Yeah.
try to hunt you down now?
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not the SI7.
Yeah, he used to be SI7, as I mentioned, and he faked his death. Obviously, he has intel, and they want to know he's not using it against them and all that stuff,
He would
Why
never,
do I
right?
imagine?
No, he wouldn't.
Why do I-
He just wanted to leave, like turn around, basically.
Why do I imagine him being the John Rambo of Darkshore now?
He pretty much is.
That's fairly accurate, actually.
Especially in Battle for Azeroth.
I can imagine him coming back and going on a warpath, basically.
be fun.
Dempsey's going to be equally upset, actually. Not with just going to war and the actual fact that the horde burnt down a home towards another race,
I
And
think
obviously
Az and Dempsey get along really
Yeah.
well.
being that she already lost her home, not that she liked it that much, because let's face it, Bilgewater wasn't that great.
Kazan.
Yeah, but she gets that it can be difficult to lose a home, and imagine
Yeah.
Sylvanas and stuff burning an entire
Yeah, but
Tree
do we
down.
know that it is Sylvanas who's burning it down?
that's as far as we know from an outside perspective.
Yeah.
But
But-
it depends really. If it goes that way, Dempsey's probably going to go neutral, and I mean she could die to the horde, she could die to the alliance, but I think it depends for interactions, I suppose.
Dempsey should come with Azmira and help her form the neutral mage academy.
That's if I
Form
even
the
RP
hordes.
odds. Like lately, I've been finding horde pretty stale when I try roleplay.
Really?
They're fairly guild centered.
They are.
I don't mind that. I've never found difficulty. It's just the
No.
fact that getting into roleplay on horde is just recently for me compared to roleplay on alliance. It doesn't seem as enjoyable for me right now.
Well, maybe that will change. I don't know. Well,
Maybe.
I'm currently sort of enjoying roleplay on Alliance more than I am on Horde.
Which is a shame
Um,
because I've developed a lot with Dempsey.
Anyway.
I mean, I had a storyline that I did, I think, throughout this year, which was knowledge is power, and basically, I still haven't finished it. I mean, there's still a lot of room to do events there if people want to join in, but basically, it's an event where there's these like books scattered out for Azeroth, and they have these magical properties or curses or whatever that give people an advantage over others.
That sounds interesting.
Mhm.
And she's trying to collect them all, lock them away so others can't use them, to do good or bad,
Mhm.
whatever. She's
That
Sounds-
sounds pretty cool.
She'd sound perfect with Azmira's mage thing.
With Azmira.
Yeah, those two should really go on that.
yeah.
They should join together on that. That sounds like the sort of thing I'd love.
I did try and get the ball rolling. I sort of gave people an area to go off of. You know, give them hints and rumors and stuff, and they could create the events themselves and go after the book if they want. Like the whole initiative was to have people also interact with each other. So if someone tries to steal a book from another player or something, you know.
Police called after the men dressed as traffic cones block the road.
What? What are you reading?
I mean,
What the hell?
okay. If that wasn't real life, it sounds like someone with RP.
Bad roleplay. Dressed as traffic cones, really?
Yeah.
Well, they get points for creativity, I guess. But
I mean, meeting people. I mean, I think it was this year I met someone from Malog. Like I rarely do that, but I met Kanju. I won't say their name because I don't know if they want me to say their name, but you know, I'll just call him Kanju, the troll.
yeah,
It was really good meeting her. She's a really nice person. We're still friends, obviously, even if we don't play. Even if she doesn't play WoW anymore, we used to be in the same guilds and all that. I'm quite happy I met her. Really, she's a good friend.
yeah, it is nice. It is nice to meet people. I've met a lot of people through World of Warcraft now. Yeah, we did like back on Defias when I was still in Nature's Grasp. We had a real life meeting. One of the members, her family friends or something, lent their sort of summer place to us, and we stayed there for 4 or 5 days or something like that. And we played games and made food and went on picnics and things like that. It was awesome. There's still pictures around somewhere from that.
I actually don't know how many people I've actually met from her. I think there's only 3 people throughout my entirety of playing WoW.
I've not met anyone.
And one of them, well, 2 of them I don't talk to anymore, but one of them, who I was friend with for like 5 to 8 years, just to put it in simple terms, drama. We don't talk to each other anymore. But
No, that's sad.
yeah, well, yeah, I won't discuss it. I'm not gonna shit talk on stream.
No. I talked to most of them. I talked to most of the people that I've met, and of course I met my boyfriend through World of Warcraft as well. So
I actually nearly met a Crona and a bunch of others, but I couldn't because of one thing that happened. One thing. Can you guess what it is?
no idea.
Clue, it's not
What
actually
happened?
related to WoW at all. It's actually London related.
I mean, there's a lot that happens in that. So.
Yes, I have no idea.
Basically, what happened was we were supposed to meet up at London Zoo.
Oh right,
But-
that trip.
Was that this summer or when was
Yes.
it? Yeah.
It was the summer, and the trains were not working.
Oh no, that's
So I got fucked by the trains.
oh that sucks.
So I couldn't meet. So far, I've not met anyone. And to be fair, I'm kind of nervous about it anyway because I might it's because of my voice. To be honest, my voice is kind of fucked. So
I personally don't mind meeting up with people. I just don't have the money to meet people, you know, outside of the UK. But I mean, I guess if it's Portugal, sure, because I have family there, I can always just go there and then, you know, visit people from there. But anywhere else, don't really have the money to stay at a hotel or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I get that. I wanted to go to the meet in Finland this winter, but that would have been cool. But I didn't really have the money.
I've never been out of England.
I used to go every year to Portugal until I was 16, and then I stopped.
Ah.
I
mean, I moved to a different country after
know.
after having met my boyfriend through World of Warcraft. So
I know 2 people in the Iberian Peninsula. One does Ludo sport, which is kind of fun.
Why are you afraid to go to London? Oh, I guess it is kind of dodgy sometimes.
Wait, why am I afraid to go to London?
No, someone just wrote in chat they're afraid to go to London. It can
I
be
used
dodgy
to.
sometimes.
I used to live there, and I can confirm, Lemon, it definitely is dodgy. I wouldn't go there if you want.
Is it?
If you want to see,
I've only been there once and I loved it.
It can be dodgy.
If you want to come see me, come to High Wycombe instead. It's much better. But the,
When I get money, I will come over to England again.
it's real.
Because I miss it.
It's real estate.
I live in a pretty crappy area at the moment as well.
I think the one thing actually is one of the big reasons I don't actually go out and meet people is mostly due to my transition. That's more personal info than anything. That's more personal problems than actual like people problems. Not to mention other things. So there's a lot of reasons. Not to mention costs. I don't have enough money to go abroad, so there's that as well.
I don't anymore.
Oh no!
Yeah. Once I have money again, I will go travel.
Oh god! Did you say fam, Lemon?
Sorry, what?
What?
Oh my god!
Oh, sure, fam.
Huh? What?
Oh my god!
What did I say?
No,
not
that sounds
you.
lower in the chat.
You're already infected with London. It's too late.
Well, that's everywhere. I mean, you got Chads everywhere.
What's going on?
Blood.
Blood fam in it.
Oh.
Come down to the hood in it, blood.
Oh, I'm
I'll
so
bash you-
behind.
I'll
I'm
bash
so
you in
behind
the
the
head.
times.
I'll bash you in the fucking head, I swear, me mum.
I think it's been going on for a while. I mean, that's how the majority of Londoners fucking talk.
It does.
What?
I can confirm it's
I've
real.
heard it, but I've never
It's-
really seen it used seriously.
It's funny because a lot of the people I've spoken to at least tend to think that London people talk with a posh accent.
Mm.
Then you have me.
Yeah, you come to London, it's completely different.
I don't remember the London accent being that bad, but
Get the London look.
Yeah.
well, I was only there for a week, so I didn't get to see
Although,
all the
yeah,
places.
I don't mind visiting
all the
people.
people.
I've suggested to a few people now and again if they wanted to go to MCM, which is a Comic-Con basically in London. Although at the moment I don't know how that is really.
I want to go to BlizzCon.
I'd love to go to BlizzCon, but
I would love to go to
I
BlizzCon
need a lot
too.
of money for
would
that.
I also
Yes.
I also need to just get abroad in general.
Yeah.
But
Nice. It's
It's,
nice. If you ever come to the Netherlands, you should come say hi. The Netherlands
I
is not
might.
big.
I have considered coming to the Netherlands.
It's not big, but so everything is fairly close.
Oh yeah. There's also a few things legal there that I can't do here.
Let me-
Fair enough.
I'm getting spams everywhere. What is this?
Spam,
Spam. I'm being popular. I'm popular for once.
Oh god. Oh god.
I'll tell you, one of my other highlights was actually hosting the Close to Home campaign. It was pretty fun.
Yeah.
That must have been.
That was my
Must
second
have been
campaign
fun.
I've hosted. Entirely,
Ooh.
that is.
It was a great campaign. It was so much fun, and that's where I sort of met you guys. So
Yeah.
I'm very pleased with that campaign.
That's basically where
that was
Terralast was born, quote unquote. Because I made him more to be a general in the campaign sort of thing.
General Terrorlass.
Not general, but you know what I mean.
I could get behind that.
Quest Giver Terrorlass, I think
Quest
is the
Giver
name.
Terralast. Agent Terralast, that was it.
I like Quest Giver better.
I've
And Jungle Fever was pretty fun as well, but I don't think you were in Jungle Fever, either of you.
I don't think
Which
Nope.
I
was
was.
hosted by Rogmasha, and that's where I met the Myrmidon.
Right.
I
That's-
recently hosted, what's it called? The name of the Argus campaign I did was called The War Within. And soon enough I'm going to host for Event Chain, which is Fall of Argus. But I've hosted things way before, like back in Mott, my favourite event campaign as a whole, my first one was in the Badlands, where we were up against a splinter cult of Twilight called Cult of the White Hand. That was fun.
Sounds like it was fun. I'm sort of sorry that I missed the Starhost campaign this year. That was
Starhost was pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed it because it was like right.
I wouldn't
It was
worry.
right when we had our sort of introduction campaign for the Nightblades, so they sort of overlapped a little bit. So I had to sort of prioritize.
I was there
Sadly.
on Ella and I.
Mm.
Azmira was in a sort of Suramar torture scenario / Broken Shore.
Fun times. Fun times.
Yeah. I think that was
I have
actually
a bad
torture.
memory entirely, so highlights aren't always the best thing. But I mean,
that was yeah. Speak of bad memories, that is actually one of the big highlights was actually in character terms. One of the few times Azmira fully broke was in this expansion, where she nearly turned into a broken
Oops.
because of what Nightborn did to her.
let's do a broken Azmira.
No.
Oopsie.
I'll tell you what I want to do for 2018 though.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
We'll talk about this.
I want to make more campaigns. Battle for Azeroth will give me more opportunity to make campaigns because, let's face it,
Why?
Legion isn't been very good story-wise for RPs to get involved in.
Yeah, no, I
that
can
is
see
very
where
true.
you're coming from.
So Battle for Azeroth, I hope to make some RP PvP campaigns, and who knows, I might actually bring Teralas to lead one of them again.
An RP PvE campaigns in my case.
We'll have a grizzled Teralas being all grr.
I don't got
Being all
time to bleed.
Yeah.
I don't got time to bleed.
Do it.
Do it. Kill him.
Oh Jesus.
Screw it.
But yeah, I could bring Teralas for one of those. Have an RP PvP campaign.
My plan for this
Um,
year is
I do plan on doing more community events in general as well, doing more initiatives. I plan on improving, obviously, Fuse talks along the way with suggestions or whatever, I mean, one of the other things is basically meeting people in general. I want to see more RP characters. I want to see more guilds, interact with them, get to know the community more, because I don't think I've actually been meeting much of the Alliance outside of Night Elves, I guess.
yeah.
Oh hey, Master Race.
I still say
my
Goblin
plan
Master
is-
Race, even though I RP Night Elf a lot now.
Nightborn.
I have no
My
idea what you're talking about. Yeah, go on, sorry.
Master Race.
Nope.
My plan is
What the hell?
my plan is kind of in 2018. My idea is to, well, firstly, start finally writing the final proper draft of my book, which is a project outside of WoW, science fantasy called Silence of the Stars. Second
I like the name.
plan is in RP wise, I want to start doing more community-based events, and also want to host more storylines, RP PvE stuff, which is and I want to basically possibly form a new community or guild around the idea of essentially base it around a magical academy where rather than just mages, it's actually magic of several kinds. So mages, warlocks, priests, so on, paladins, maybe shamans, don't know, but basically divide it into 3 kinds of magic, where it's understanding the nature of magic and using it to better the world, all sorts of magic. And though obviously necromancy is a no-no, but most other forms of magic are they're fine in moderation. Like even a demon hunter would probably be able to find a home in there, sort of like a protector, or trying to understand the fel better and such to control it, that kind of thing. Like in essence, it's kind of like what I kind of want to start is like a group of knowledge seekers and people who find kind of funny. You mentioned the whole like hooks of power that you want to try and find and keep away from people, because it's kind of what this guild idea is sort of based around, where it's sort of trying to find things like magic and knowledge and magical artifacts and such, and use them to better the world and keep them out of the wrong hands. Essentially, start a little mini Kirin Tor almost, where it's independent, and that's my plan. It's obviously not set in motion, so I'm not going to set it in stone even. So it's not going to be a definite 100% thing. Like, some things might change.
Oh shit! I just realised I'm playing the wrong song. Oops. I hope I don't get copyrighted when I put it on YouTube now.
Hopefully not.
Just put the music artist's name in the description.
Yeah.
It's credited to them. But yeah, it's like that's my plan basically. My other plan as well is to embellish more on some of my other characters. So I want to essentially bring a full circle to the storyline of my elven families. So like the Balorians, the Shalsarars, the Talnerifs, and the Vordrisses, all of them are linked. And I want to kind of have them all sort of coincide in a similar story path, just on different sides of each other. And I also want to focus on a storyline that's kind of ultimately one storyline I want to do is pretty much Azmira versus Varafale, like the sort of mental struggle against a Void Lord that is obsessed with you. And
sounds like a party.
And a Void Lord who is not only obsessed with you, but will do anything to try and deconstruct you. So in essence, possessing
lots of scary whispers and stuff.
Possessing the people you love, trying to get like.
I think I had a book created like that, which was called Book of Maddened Whispers or something like that. Anyone who held it just fell down into insanity, basically, slowly.
Yeah, well, in fact, I've got one evil idea for a possible thing that might happen. Is Varafale might end up taking Azmira's light-forged mother hostage, and possibly giving her an ultimatum, where it's obviously a lie, but Varafale might go the whole, "Oh, you have to kill her if you want to kill me, because we're now interlinked," or I can free her, but I go free too. And even if Azmira actually kills Iora, though, Varafale doesn't die. Like, it's basically a bluff. Like, he wins regardless of what she does.
Oh, that sucks.
Situations like that, Azmira's going to have to overcome this year, and ultimately, I think Battle for Azeroth will be a test of resolve. And my elves, it'll be sort of a reunion of the families, like a sort of civil war between them. Especially with one of them, my old main prior to Az, the one who got a tit bit off, Liadris, is going to become a void elf.
Oh.
So her sister Amariel, the blood elf, will kind of be in a civil war with her, while Ella and I will probably be at odds with my Nightborn, but they won't be in so much a war as much of a philosophical debate, because Ella and I doesn't want a war with the other elves anymore. She's had enough of war. But she will fight to protect her legacy and the legacy of those she loves. And Azmira wants to help get all this magical knowledge together to help heal the world, essentially, and help potentially later on use it against the Void when the time comes.
Yes, when the time comes, whenever that may be.
And so that is kind of my plans. Like, beyond all that, I want to get to writing the draft of my book, and hopefully,
sounds pretty cool, though.
hopefully get some character development in, but otherwise,
It's a lot of ambitious plans, though.
yeah, that's why I'm not setting them all in stone. Some of them might not.
Well, it's
happen.
good to have ambitious plans, I think.
Sometimes, not all the time.
Well, not all the time, but like, I don't know. I like having some sort of big goal to sort of reach towards, kind of. It's
Yeah.
always nice to have that, even if it is like crazy ambitious or whatever. You might not reach it immediately, but you have a sort of some idea of where you're going. You usually don't take the way or the road that you had planned to go to get there, but you might end up there so eventually anyway.
Yeah.
Just not exactly how you imagined.
I think another thing I want to actually try and do is I need to learn how to do editing and such before I do this, and I need to fix my voice. But basically, one thing I want to do is create a sort of. Do you remember the Harbingers style sort of backstory videos Blizzard did on Khadgar, Gul'dan, and Illidan?
Yeah.
And the
I remember.
Warlords of Draenor one as well.
Yeah.
I kind of want to do something like that, but for my own characters.
Oh, that
tell
could be
their-
cool.
To tell their backstory.
Yeah, that could be really cool.
But there's two big problems. One, voice. And two, I don't know how to edit and draw for shit. So,
Just have me do an orc voice. I've got the best orc voice.
Dabu.
Dub.
No, I need to feminize my voice before I actually do Azmira or my elves.
Oh yeah, another aim of ours is to steal Tinwetar into the Myrmidon, you know?
We shall see about that. Maybe you will make her a pirate one day. We will see.
We'll convert her.
Azmira joined the Myrmidon.
I think it's just Night Elves and Morgans. I mean, she can join as a passenger.
Well, I mean, like,
There is a passenger
It's
rank,
tempting.
so...
I know.
it's very, very tempting, but I can't just leave my sentinels, you know.
Oh, you know, they can join us. Convert them to piratism as well.
Combine them.
Or you know, we could make Sen on an admiral and you can have your own ship as well.
Oh, so you're gonna make a
The
fleet now?
largest,
Yeah.
the largest fleet the Empire has ever seen.
Has ever seen, yes.
The
Nice,
first
we're rebuilding.
galactic
We're rebuilding the
empire.
Kaldrai Empire.
Kaldrai Empire.
But, yes,
Well, the
but the pirates.
second, technically.
It's an intriguing idea. I'm not entirely against it.
Can ours become the first Draenei Myrmidon?
There is a
She can-
passenger rank, and I think anyone can join as
She
a
can-
passenger.
She can turn the ship into a spaceship and get you on their level.
No, we already know how
Oh,
we already know how Draenei and spaceships go.
Yeah, no, let's not do that.
Have you
Let's not do
heard?
that.
Have you heard? There's actually a Light Force joke about
Joke
that?
about it, yes. That's why I said
Like,
that.
we've not crashed the Vindicar yet, but
Yet,
knowing
but
our
given our track record, it's
only
just a matter of time. It's like, well, at least, you have some sort of, what's that word for it? Like self-knowledge, like your,
You're bad,
Self-admission.
very bad.
yeah.
Just
Oh,
leave
sorry.
it to the goblins. Even with volatile
English fails me
machinery, they can
sometimes.
fly.
Goblins crash their ship
Yeah, no.
too, though.
Yes, they do.
They fly
All the
better
time.
than Draenei.
No one.
And
actually,
they blow themselves up.
Actually,
Hey,
funny
my goblin
thing
hasn't
is-
blown himself up, okay?
Not
Funny
yet,
thing-
is what
Oh.
you're trying to say.
Oh,
She doesn't touch machinery though. So
do you have any regrets in RP?
me?
Also, Jackham also put a question in as well.
Oh,
Regrets in RP.
Should we tackle the first question or
Yeah, maybe we should do that.
yeah?
yeah. All right.
So,
We can do the questions now, I suppose. What
Yeah.
inspired you to make Nightblades, and also to stick to the topic? Was your most fond moment that you've had with your guild? And if obviously if myself or Azmira also created a guild, it applies
Yeah.
the same question.
Okay,
No-
so
no
what
matter.
inspired me to make the Nightblades? When I was in Nature's Grasp, when I became an officer, shortly after that we sort of divided up the guild into like different wings. So we had like a military wing and a sort of druid wing and stuff like that. And I was in charge of the military wing. We called it the Black Moon Sentinels. It was like an old thing that they had before, and then we sort of reinvented it a little bit. But Nature's Grasp was a fairly sort of inclusive group of night elves. Since we did have mages and things, even though that ended very badly, but they were fairly fairly nice in that sense. They were not so conservative, and I don't know. I kind of missed the way the night elves were in Warcraft 3. So I've always like I couldn't really do that. I couldn't like exclude people from the military wing as such in Nature's Grasp. So I sort of always sort of harbored this dream of making this more traditional,
military.
more sort of traditional sentinel type unit. But I never really had the opportunity to make it until I moved over to Argent and sort of decided that now is the time to do it. And then the first year we lots of ERL stuff happened, so I didn't really get it off the ground. So it was just this year when we actually sort of started recruiting for real and creating campaigns and stuff like that it actually happened. And it's been so much fun to sort of see it grow and taking part in the Close to Home campaign and getting to interact with people and seeing how people react to us and stuff like that. It's been really nice. It's a little bit sort of a dream come true in a way to sort of see it like that.
Well, it's always nice to see your dream actually come into vision.
Yeah.
With Nomads of Terrain, when I founded that, the inspiration behind that was to bring an alternative, because back in the day of the Nomads, its original incarnation, the only other Draenei guild there was Triumvirate of Oros. There was another one as well, but they were falling apart. But Triumvirate was the only guild that was actually stable, and I wanted to provide an alternative area where it's not as, how do I say this without sounding like an arse? Hardcore, where it's not as basically
elitist, basically.
Not, I wouldn't call it elitist.
Or super like 24/7 events sort of thing.
Yeah, but at the same time, Nomads was also inspired off of the idea of a Draenei reliquary, kind of. But then it evolved into something else entirely, and I think my favourite moment of the guild was when we had our first proper storyline during the Blasted Lands, where not Blasted Lands, the Badlands, where we fought the White Hand cult. That still remains to this day my favourite VN storyline. So that's my thing.
I've made a few guilds, but the only ever successful one was Wonder Spot Carnival. As to why I made it was I've been someone who's always enjoyed making community events, and I saw the Fable Wind Fair. I'm sure most people know who the Fable Wind Fair are, but
I know them a bit too well.
Why not make a horde version of it, basically? So a group of entertainers on horde side all together in one guild, providing occasional street performances or all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't go well because obviously I'm not running the guild anymore. But it's more so because I'm not going to blame every member in the guild, but there were a few that expected to be spoon-fed, and I'm not the sort that likes to spoon-feed people all the time.
I know that feeling.
And then when I also try and create an event and people aren't, like, they say they're with you on board, they're going to help and all that stuff, and it becomes a nuisance. This is a lot of the times why I feel like if I want to make an event, I'm going to make it on my own terms from now on. I'm going to make it when I want to.
Same.
This is practically why I'm never going to make a guild again ever. I'd prefer the freedom to create it when I want and do all this sort of stuff.
I know
Yeah.
the feeling. Like, it's sort of a similar situation with me.
But I mean, I'm not gonna. It was a good experience regardless, because I met a lot of people through that. I made a few good friends. Oh, why'd you pull the boss?
Why are you running?
Oh my god. Yeah.
What are you doing?
I'm doing a key whilst we're doing this.
Ah.
But yeah, the guild itself was an experience and it was an enjoyable one, so I'm not going to complain about it too much because it's still something that sticks with me, and it's something I miss because Fuse Flashbug was an interesting character for me as well. She ended up being executed
Hmm.
because
Sad.
of treasonous behaviour. Basically, the idea with Wonderspark as well, in the background there's this sort of like mafia vibe to it. So it's like entertainers, but like mafia sort of stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
have this whole family value where it's them first, no one else.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Gotcha.
pretty fun to do. But yeah, the guild went down. Since then, I've been making events at my own pace, or I haven't actually joined guilds that much. I guess I joined the cohort, and now more recently the Myrmidon. Otherwise, I'm really hesitant with joining guilds most of the times because
Understandably.
it's something I have to invest into, and it has to be people who I like and can get along with. Because obviously, I'm not gonna have fun if I'm not with people that I get along with, basically.
No, and I think that goes for almost everyone.
Um,
Seems like it would be a universal thing.
Yeah.
but otherwise, yeah. I mean, I can pretty much just say that's how it's going to be with me. I'm not going to make any more guilds, but Wonderspark, although it had its downs, it also had its ups as well. What's the other question?
Two other questions now.
Do you have any regrets
well.
in roleplay?
You can go first.
Okay, I'll start.
Do it.
I guess killing off Fuse Fastback is one of them, actually. I mean, again, she was a character I enjoyed, but I can acknowledge when the character's story comes to an end,
Yeah.
And obviously, it was an end for her, so she died. I don't really think of any other regrets. I mean, regrets aren't many because the story's a story at the end of the day, really.
Yeah, that is very true. I'm not sure if I have any regrets in that sense. Like, sure, you can regret a lot of sort of stupid shit you did when you were a kid
Oh yeah.
and didn't know any better.
If we're talking about those regrets, I could go for a few.
I've got one of those. Big one.
But like, I mean, everyone has started somewhere, and we're obviously here and we're doing a bit better nowadays. So we're not total basket cases. So I don't know. I don't think I have any regrets like that. Or actually, I do regret a little bit killing off Frostfang and the whole Tsunami storyline a little bit, because I don't know, it was more of a challenge to play her when she was blind.
Yeah.
It was an interesting challenge to sort of roleplay that and emote those things when she was not. It's still fun to play her because she's still an interesting character, but I don't know. It was.
She has not got that aspect to her anymore.
No, and there's like something's missing, like something to her personality, or to her character that's missing. So I can regret doing it so soon. I wish I had dragged it out a little bit longer if I even would have done it. Like if I were to do it, I wish I had sort of dragged it on a little bit longer, because as it is right now, I felt a little bit rushed.
Always reblind her.
Yeah, but it would not be the same thing.
I can blind her for you.
That would feel a bit sort of counterproductive.
Just gouge her eyes out,
Yeah, it would be a little bit counterproductive.
Illidari services, how may I help you?
She's an orc. I don't think that would.
She'll be the first orc
go very
Illidari.
well. Oh Jesus, nah.
Orcadari.
Yeah, I like her as she is, but there's a tiny twinge of regret there. And I can also regret that my first character since vanilla, that I sort of had to put her on a shelf. There was like no way to go forward with her storyline at that point. I can sort of regret that a little bit. I wish that I had been able to find a way to sort of get her back. But yeah, stories are stories. They come to an end eventually. So even though you might not like the ending,
My
Uh,
regret
oh yeah.
is basically leaving, well, stepping down as G leader during WOD and quitting the game when, in a time when Lebula needed help, quite a lot of it. But Leb pulled through and actually kept the guild alive. But I'm fully going to be giving it to like properly. Well, I have technically, but I kind of regret leaving them basically and coming back later. But I regret.
I'm I'm
I
just gonna
essentially feel like I abandoned them sometimes.
I'm just gonna comment on that quickly though. I know
Yeah.
I'm not gonna talk about her specifically though, but going back to the spoon feeding thing I said, sometimes you have to put people on the spot to actually get them to do stuff. So it could be you just saying, you know what, this is yours, you take the stage,
mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
you sometimes get the best things out of them, and even then they sometimes realise that they can do it.
This was back in the day when the
I've been
gnome.
there. I've been there with Nimzel, who kind of thrusted Officer into me because apparently he thought that I could DM and all that stuff, which I eventually learnt and did. But
This was back in the day when the nomads were basically like a lot of the people actually did want to be spoon fed, and I was having enough. Like it was actually kind of leads into the second question, oddly enough.
yeah, go on, Draenei State of RP.
Yes.
So Draenei RP is currently, I couldn't tell you which guilds are active and not because we're at a time now where it's the end of the expansion. People are farming content or fucking off to different games. And so far, one, like, of course, the nomads exist, but at the moment they're not super active because they're Christmas holidays. But I know the Aldori Exeim are active and hopping. But otherwise, the state of Draenei hockey as a whole has always been subjective because you do get more Draenei who don't actually know what they're doing in terms of RP than those who do.
I make
But the
mine
same,
younger for that case, that purpose, because that
but the
way.
same, yeah, at the same time, like sometimes it might actually be deliberate. So always remember that when you might actually have just encountered a young Draenei who didn't know, or but yes, there are cases where you do get Draenei RPers who genuinely don't know what they're doing and take advantage of it. And actually, some Draenei RPers, unfortunately, try to actually take control because it's a niche and they see it as a power play. When in actuality, what some people tend to forget, and this applies to all kinds of RP, is that it's not about power, it's about having fun, it's about storytelling. With
Yep.
Draenei RP, it's especially a little difficult because it's hard to relate. It's especially hard to relate to an alien that's lived hundreds of your own lifetime
Oh
and
yes.
seen so much shit. Even the youngest Draenei or youngest Draenei adults have seen more than the average human could probably handle. And that's a thing people seem to forget about Draenei is that they are a deeply traumatized race. Like they are, but it doesn't make them into horrible people. They're a case of traumatized people who are recovering from it by actually being an example of what to be rather than what not to be. It's a case of somebody who has, say, I think the best analogy I can give to Draenei RP as a whole, if anyone actually needs it, they're starting Draenei, is a soldier is out in, I don't know, Afghanistan, and his legs get blown off from an IED. Now, he's sent home, like he's recovering, obviously, but some soldiers might be jaded, like they might be pretty fucking grumpy for the rest of their lives for good reason. Like they might be very upset, like they'll be depressed. But in the case of the Draenei, they had all this trauma done to them, and instead of being utterly depressed, yes, they do get their moments where they lose it, but they try to control it and actually use their PTSD and experience as a way to actually guide people and as a way of actually being sort of, what's the word, an example of what to, like, an example basically. That's what they are, exemplars, and that's what a lot of our peers tend to actually forget about Draenei as a whole. And in terms of the actual Draenei community, I couldn't say if there actually is one. Rather, it's very guild based. Like and a lot of Draenei tend to actually be in multiracial guilds a lot of the time.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And I imagine things will get interesting as well with Lightforged coming in. The thing to remember about Lightforged, for any new Draenei RPers who are interested in going in there, I'm not going to RP a Lightforged myself, but with Lightforged, you got to remember they've literally been fighting an eternal war their whole life. They don't know civilian life. Like they don't know. They're kind of like what would happen if you had a soldier literally born at war and just never on shore leave. So that's my piece on that.
I've got a Draenei, but I can't really say I've had much experience. I've made my Draenei young for the purpose that she doesn't have to talk all about the past experience. I've made her young to a point she's been on Draenor, but anything behind that, you know.
She would have experienced a genocide at the very least.
I think I already told you with the storyline I've gone with her as well, with her having given up on the light basically, or on the Naru as well.
That's tragic.
Well, it's not like tragic in the sense of tragic. It's basically her more depending on herself rather than the light. It's her saying that being blinded like by something like faith or whatever can lead to stupid stuff basically. So she's like
Azmira agrees with her there.
She's basically like, I'm going to rely on my own strength to do things, to get things done basically.
That sounds very much like my first night elf, who had sort of lost faith in Elune and everything as well.
Azmira would agree with your goat.
She's currently in Stormwind though, recovering because well, she's been through a few, like she's been training herself through some like gladiator pits and stuff, you know, pushing herself, you know.
Oh, 2 more questions.
And she's kind of in Stormwind at the moment, recovering. She's like lost a bit of her horn. She's got her face scarred and everything.
Not the horn. Actually, if you've seen the recent picture of Azmira that Elwyn drew, that's she's got that scar. Wanna guess
that was
where
a lovely
came
picture,
from?
though.
Wanna guess where the scar came from?
Where?
It was a tree branch.
Oh. The scar my Draenei has across her cheek, which is like a claw mark, was from a Void Lord sort of thing.
Ooh.
She basically got scratched across the face.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yep.
Yeah, Az would know all about that. Jesus.
But yeah, she's been through. She started off as a Rangari on Draenor and went to became a Vindicator, and then from that, like pretty much her own thing basically.
Oh,
What are the questions?
there's.
What event are you most proud of DMing?
Oh no, there's one
No,
above
no, no.
that.
There's
is there
another
one
one
more?
before that.
Where?
Yeah, is there a real life event character that
Oh,
inspired
okay.
you to translate into roleplay? And as for our, like as Melania was mentioning here, that in the Nightblades we have like a feather ceremony after every campaign that we do. So everyone who's participated in the campaigns or in the campaign, they get a feather that is specially dyed in colors to represent the campaign.
Oh, I want a feather.
Yes, that's what everyone says. Oh, I want a feather as well. But it's kind of a sort of nice thing to sort of recognize that the people have been there and kind of like a sort of commendation thing, I guess.
I
Yeah.
like that. We had I can't say if there's many real life events that encouraged in a community one, but I do know that there was actually there are actually several real life events that actually not so much helped encourage events as a whole, but rather encouraged my reaction to them. Where seeing, for example, seeing Argus the way it was for Az would have been her reaction to it was kind of inspired off of the very same reaction a Japanese person would have gotten to seeing Hiroshima after it was bombed. Whereas the event wise, there was actually one event that was literally inspired off of the Zulus. where it was an event I did back in MOP, which was having to be in a dwarven bunker holding off against Blackrock Orcs while we were just trying to get south.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of inspired off of the Battle of Zulu. And
Gotcha.
and I do remember like on a personal scale a lot of Azmira's teaching methods and for mages and such are inspired off of actual teachers I had in school,
Mm-hmm.
and including some of the NPCs around her as well. Like her mother is literally based, personality wise, off of one of my old history teachers. But but Azmira herself was not actually inspired off of anyone. She's actually she's similar to people, but she's not inspired off of any of them. Though if anything was close, I'd say Azmira's dad is sort of inspired off of Lucius Malfoy. But
Nice.
but as opposed to real life things, there isn't much inspiration when it comes to that. I tend to see things from the lens of the actual game universe, and it's a bit difficult to find RL like inspiration that translates into it. I suppose the one thing that did happen was extreme depression, which is kind of, I hate to say it's still ongoing, but it's based that sometimes shines through in RP, and I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I
But
mean,
it's still going on in my case.
yeah, I mean, I suffer from anxiety from time to time, and that translates over to Tinwetar because, of course, she's been through some crap in her time,
Yeah.
and she's still, suffering from PSTD, I suppose. So she has anxiety attacks every now and then, and it's always interesting to sort of try to translate that into the game. Like, how do I describe an anxiety attack in an emote? Like, how do I do that? And I have to sort of go into that sort of mindset. And
You look into your own anxiety attacks.
Yes, yeah, and it's not. It's. I don't think I've ever triggered one, but you have to go fairly close
I've,
to be able to
I
sort
think
of
there's,
write it down.
yeah,
But
I
it's also
think,
it's hard to describe, and it's also difficult. Like if you're role playing with someone who does not realize what's happening,
oh
and,
god, yeah.
and
No,
does not
that was,
recognize the sort of signs of what's going on.
oh
That has
yeah.
happened a couple of times, and you have to sort of go through
Oh,
whispers, like just so you're aware, this is an anxiety attack, and so you have to point them in the right direction.
yeah.
It
Like,
can
it's,
it can
there
be
are
hard to RP
some,
something you haven't experienced though.
Yeah.
there are
Yeah, I get
some,
that.
there are some things though sometimes go a bit far. Like one bit of RP, I outright, it's, I tend to try and avoid it. I can't like say it's not allowed, but it's basically one thing I try to avoid witnessing in RP is suicides,
Mm.
mostly due to personal reasons.
Yeah.
So
I
like
would probably try to stay away from that
I think
too.
I've only seen that happen once.
I've seen it happen like
I
once
guess,
as
I
well.
mean, I guess it can. Does it count as suicide when someone sacrifices himself?
Oh no, a sacrifice is kind of different. Like, it's
Yeah,
more.
It has a different feel to it.
It's
Uh,
more. It has a different context as well. Like,
yeah.
it's actual sacrifices in RP is
because I
more.
had a goblin who died like that. He basically they couldn't defuse the bomb, so he took the bomb onto his like vehicle and drove off with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a proper
that's something else.
sacrifice.
Yeah,
That's something else. That's
That
very heroic
that's
and all that.
more.
But
That's more inspirational than anything.
yeah,
That's more sorrowful, yeah, but inspirational as well.
uh,
yeah, it's not that sort of
yeah, yeah.
tragic horror feeling.
It'd be kind of hard to RP that. I wouldn't do it personally.
I did
No,
Even
have
touch
to.
it.
I would not go there because I also have personal experience with it. So I would
did.
never
I
never
did
go there.
have to. I did have to RP Azmira's reaction to seeing her little sister die, though. That was horrible.
Um,
Mm.
I've got speaking on my real life events, or whatever. I guess one of my favorite events that I hosted, and probably inspired by real life. But I mean, you can speak in general. It's just like mafia themed, basically, you know.
Mhm.
So I had with the whole knowledge is power. There was like the mafia fighting over a book or two as well.
Mm.
And I kind of used the inspiration for Mean Streets of Gadgets then.
Mm.
Nice.
So
Nice.
you had these three different, like, was it? It was no four different mafias,
Families.
and one of them being the top, which is led by Dempsey's sister, which is
Ah.
Brassy, and you had I can't remember all the names, but you had like the roguish type, you had the bikers, and then you also had like the casters, like the trinkets and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they had to. It was like a whole week or two worth of events where they had to either work with them or work against them. You know, form some alliances. But our group was undercover as their own sort of
Mm.
like mafia as well. It's pretty fun to roleplay out. I kind of like the whole mafia vibe when it comes to goblins, but
Yeah.
it's not
Isn't
always.
that sort of what they are?
Yeah, it's not always done right though. That's the problem.
Leave the gun. Take the gun.
I've always wanted to make like a mafia sort of guild. But you know, Brassy is still sort of alive. She's on the run at the moment, though. Like she was in prison, she escaped because Dempsey caught her basically.
Oh,
Dempsey has a big family, 13 siblings.
That is a very big family.
I think that goes right into the second question as well.
What's the second
Yeah.
question?
What event are you most proud of DMing?
Shall you start, Fuse?
Sure. Like I said, the Mafia one. I'm really proud of the ending to the Barons campaign. Actually, well, you know, Invasion of Azeroth.
I had a part in that.
The ending to the campaign, we had two groups of 40 players, and probably an extra few as well in the third group, where
Wow.
we were kind of like working together to DM, and it was a massive pit lord that we were all fighting basically.
Mhm.
it was pretty fun to see everyone work together. We started off with firstly like bats attacking and all these lesser demons, their stronghold. So we had people on the ridges, like I was DMing for the ranged people on the ridges firing like at the bats and stuff. We had another group DMing for people below fighting against the Felguards, trying to rush up towards them, you know. It eventually pushed towards this whole encounter with a pit lord that basically just came crashing down. He towered up to the point that you could see his like head poking over the ridge where we were hiding up, basically.
Yeah.
And it was pretty difficult to DM, but I think we executed it properly. I mean, we even added some NPCs for like horde reinforcements coming in on like zeppelins and firing cannons at them and stuff like that. I think it was a pretty good ending though.
We had
The whole storyline to that basically was the general, which was a character I would RP now and again, was basically a dreadlord. And he eventually, you know, screws them over, and then they have to like kind of work out what to do from there on themselves with the invasion and the barons and stuff.
I took a little twist with that on the Ashara front of things and had the invasion of Ashara actually be Azmira's dad responsible for it. I actually took a twist on that one. I do
Sure,
remember.
why not?
It was in the ship event. Like it was actually, it was kind of linked. Like it was not long after you killed Pitboard. I think it was only separated by a day or two. I think. Yeah, but my actual, the event I'm most proud of is actually, it is actually the. Oh God! It was in Nagrand, and it was in Lod. And, God, you know what? It's difficult because there are many events I liked, but many events I can't really say I'm proud of because I'm not sure how other people actually see my DMing ability. I suppose.
Yeah, that's always a sort of difficult thing.
I suppose the event that I did that involved. I suppose I could count the entire Badlands thing, which was basically the nomads were going to Eastern Kingdoms. They attended some kind of gathering in Halfgren, I think it was. But then they travelled down via ship, but then got attacked by what we believed were Twilight cultists. And it was intense. I actually had to DM a naval battle, which was actually quite fun. I quite enjoy DMing naval fights. I don't do them very often, but when I do, they're quite fun. But ultimately, my proudest event was just that whole arc. It felt complete. It felt like it had a start, middle, and end. It was basically us uncovering what the White Hand was, who they are, why they're doing what they do. And the interesting thing about them is that they were basically Twilight cultists who were actually kicked out of the Twilight cult and were being hunted. They still followed, like I think it was Cafun's ideology.
Yeah.
And so they made their own little splinter cult in order to compensate. And so, yeah, they were terrorizing Casmodan. And that was us having to deal with them. But in terms of single events, I suppose my best single event would have been one of the ones on Argus where we actually had to fight a Minari assassin. Not that one. Sorry, it was a bit before that. Basically, during our early conflicts on Argus, we had to go up against a Minari engineer called Xoroth, who had mechanical limbs. like a half fell reaver almost. But it was great because of how people actually used teamwork in it. They combined powers in a clever way,
Oh, that's nice.
where they actually stopped the villain from getting away and ultimately took advantage of the environment. I love it when people do that. Take initiative without the spoon feeding.
Ah, yeah,
That's my ones.
that is nice. Sadly, it doesn't happen that often.
I wish
But
I
when
could,
they,
wish
but
I
when
could
they
do more
do,
naval. Well, I wish I could do more
I
naval
guess
fights.
we'll, since it's almost 2 hours actually, Tinwetar
Jesus.
can say hers, I suppose, and then we'll finish off
Do
with a
it.
few updates and
the
stuff.
events I'm most proud of DMing. I think the one I'm still like most proud of, I think that it must be that first one that I got sort of tossed into and sort of had to handle. I was also given sort of the notes for the campaign. It's like, oh, and this is where it's supposed to go. Here you go.
It's like being in Gordon Ramsay's kitchen.
Yeah, kind of. Kind of. I
Where's
don't.
the lamb sauce?
Kind of.
I still
like
want to
that.
use the phrase, what are you, an idiot sandwich in RP at some point.
Yeah, but
I've used
that
some
one-
akin to Gandhi's food
Um,
plot in RP before.
Go for it, Tim.
and what else? Like, I don't know. I'm still like fairly proud of the campaigns that we've done since I'm still fairly new to DMing. In that sense, like the bigger things, like DMing for like a guild and things. I'm still a little bit scared of DMing for lots
You
and lots
did
of
good.
people.
I didn't get any complaints from close to home. I think you did good.
Thanks.
I don't
Yeah,
know
but-
if I've ever been in any of your events, but I'd love to.
No, we've only done like I've tried to sort of keep it small. That's because I never mentioned what I would like for 2018, and that's a sort of thing. That's kind of a sort of thing I would like to do more, like do events for more people like outside of the guilds as well, because I've done a lot of sort of religious ceremonies this year.
Yeah, they've been
And-
fun.
Yeah.
It's just a
I've-
shame I can't attend all the time with Terrorize.
Yeah, but I'm very very proud of them. It's fun to sort of sit and come up with all these sort of ceremonial things and find ways to make the ceremonies interactive for people. So I would like to do more stuff like that.
Yeah, that actually sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, it is fun. That's sort of I've sort of discovered that playing a priestess is fun. The religious aspect of it
I
is
wanna
fun
meet
to sort
you.
of dig into.
I want to meet your priestess.
Let me just look at this quick as well.
I want to meet everyone's characters. Fuck.
Right.
Well, I'm sure that can be arranged.
I haven't got a role playing guild to actually promote or give away, like, point people towards this week, but there is the second Blood Knight convocation. I hope I pronounced that right. Coming on the 27th of January. I'll explain that more at a better time. Communities. I'll be explaining some communities, like
Ooh.
Discord communities for people that want to, check it out. There's a rogue one I'm in, there's a shaman one apparently, there's, a bunch of that stuff. There was something else I was going to mention. Oh yeah, campaign for the Lost Squadron being hosted by Caladora in the Myrmidon Guild, which starts next Monday actually. Well, this Monday following.
Yeah.
Tinwetar's managed to sneak her way in. That's starting, and I mean,
You were not supposed to say that.
oh sorry.
Exposed.
Sign-ups are closed at the moment, so I mean, I guess I'll update people on how that's going throughout the, throughout its course.
Racist.
Obviously, no goats allowed.
Racism.
Hi, Azmira. Again, we're continuing with Fuse Talks on Tuesdays from now on.
I'll
And-
make you thumbnails.
Next week is going to be general talk around Stormwind RP,
Ooh, I can definitely make something for that.
and I
Actually.
think Marcus would want to join on that one, but we'll see.
I'm gonna listen in for sure. I don't think I have much to contribute to the discussion, but I will listen in for sure.
I'll listen in as well, and I'll make the thumbnail for you.
I don't think I have any updates for now, but there is the Discord, I guess, which I'll link for the third time.
Yes, and I think I've seen a few of my Nightblades have joined Discord.
Yeah,
I suppose
Join-
the only
join the Discord if you want to contribute to, you know, Fuse Talks. I mean, I have the suggestions tab, I have questions tab, all that stuff. I have the catch up as well, where I post stuff on YouTube so people can watch anything they've missed.
I suppose the only thing I've to actually throw an update on is I kind of want to start doing sort of very casual streams myself at some point. Like, not so much like this, more just the occasional thing here and there, and also possibly a very sort of foreshadowing shout out to the guild that I want to actually form, and possible communities with the actual community function is coming in the next BFA. I want to use that and give Lebula some love. Like, I might not be in the Nomads when BFA comes along, but doesn't mean Nomads are dead. Like, they're not dead. Give Lebula some love. She puts a lot of care into the guild.
Just to talk about streamers in general quickly as well, because I've noticed there's a few people that started streaming as well in Argent Dawn, and honestly, support each other pretty much. I mean, that's how they're going to grow, and if you like the content, obviously, but
you
if
know, we're
not,
supporting
just
each
give them
other.
a follow. You know, I'm almost at 100 followers. If you haven't followed me yet,
Wink, wink.
give me a follow.
Wink.
Or I don't know if I'm actually 100 followers, because I need to refresh to see that, and if I refresh, I can't see the chat.
Well, I'll probably start doing casual things myself.
Sure, you can point it out in
I will.
thing. I'm always open to suggestions, everything like that. Otherwise, this stream hasn't been about a specific discussion. It's more of a hello, we're back here in the new year, and highlights all that stuff.
It's your boy, Skinny Penis.
It's great having Azmira, not Skinny Penis. Azmira back here with us again, and Tinwetar here with us for the first time as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for letting me come.
Oh, it's been nice to meet you as well.
Yeah, nice to meet you
I've
too.
actually RP'd with you.
No,
It's
we
been
will have to
great
arrange
RPing
that
with
somehow.
Tinwetar.
This is the lovely thing about Fuse Talks. It brings people together.
Yes, it's very nice.
It
We should have tea and
also
cookies.
it also means I get to use his name in a Cards Against Humanity match whenever I get the blank card, which I did.
That's another thing. I might actually do more Cards Against Humanity. So, and
I want
I'm
to
going
join that
to.
again.
I'm going to
I
do
know
a
I have a
maximum,
few
like-
of my Nightblades who wants to do Cards Against Humanity.
that was-
I've never played
that
it
was-
myself.
It's
Like I said,
fun.
outside of Fuse Talk streams, I'll put it on the Discord whenever I'm gonna plan on streaming something else, so people can join in if they want or not. You know, it's mainly multiplayer games. So I might do some playthrough of single player games if I feel like it, but not really.
I might do that myself. Might put that on my YouTube as well.
Otherwise, thanks for watching.
Yeah, give Fuse and Tin some love.
Yeah, give Tin some love. Tin's a good
And give
RPR.
Azmira and Fuse some love too.
Give
Yay.
Tin, Azmira, give everyone some love.
Yes, give everyone some love. We need
Oh.
more love, especially in the community.
All right,
Yeah.
see you guys.
Goodbye.
See you guys. Bye.
Or should I say Dionysaka?
Goddamn nerd.